Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for watching this video. If you didn't catch my video from last week, please go and watch that now. I talk about the upcoming election and all of the craziness that's going on with the RNC and the DNC, and just kind of giving my perspective on what's exactly going on. This week, I want to switch it up a little bit and talk about something that I'm actually dealing with right now. So if you're following me on my social media, you notice that I posted a picture of a plot of land. So yes, I am building a house right now. I purchased a house, I'm building the house right now, and I'm going through all the process of building that house. So I wanted to make a video and take you guys kind of on the journey that I'm going through. And the first thing I want to talk about is what I believe is the first thing you should do in this whole home buying process. Whether you're building a house or whether you're purchasing a home that was already owned by someone else, I think this is pretty much where you should start in terms of getting prepared and getting all your ducks in a row. So like I said, I think this is the first place that you should start, is getting pre-approved for a loan. Before you start looking at houses, before you start surfing the internet for what you think you're gonna like and all that stuff, I think you should set some time aside to make sure you get pre-approved for a loan. Because you don't want to walk into a situation where you're looking at houses and you're excited about what you see, and then you discover that you can't afford it. So the first thing you should do is make sure you find a lender. Regardless of the type of home loan that you're looking for, you should find a lender and go through their pre-approval process. What does that mean? Some people are a little confused as to the difference between pre-qualification and getting pre-approved. Before you get pre-approved, you have to get pre-qualified. Getting pre-qualified means that you are getting an estimate of how much of a house you can actually afford. So there are various websites and different things that you can go to in order to get pre-qualified for a loan. Really what I did was I Googled how to get pre-qualified for a loan, and I saw videos like this on YouTube. I read articles all over the place. What are the steps? What's the process? What is the difference between getting pre-qualified and pre-approved? All of that stuff. So like I said, getting pre-qualified means that you are getting an estimate of how much of a house that you can afford. When you get pre-approved, that means that you have gone through the process of working with a lender. They're checking your credit, they're going through their entire process, and they send you a pre-approval letter. In that pre-approval letter, you'll have an actual number that says this is how much the lender is willing to go up to, the maximum amount they're willing to lend you in order to go towards your home. And so that means that you can search for a home between that number and anything below it. Sometimes you want to go through a couple lenders' processes so that you can get the highest amount. You want to work with them, you want to give them and be transparent about your financial situation, all of that stuff. Because I think for most people, they want to be pre-approved for the highest number possible. So before we get into the steps to get pre-approved, I want to walk through the steps of the home buying process. Whether you're building, whether you're buying a pre-owned home, whatever the case may be, that was one of the biggest questions that I had. I've rented my entire life. I pay a whole bunch of money to have a place to live that's not even mine. A lot of people even say you're throwing away money when you're just renting. You know, whatever your preference is, rent or buy. I had no idea how to get into that other area. No idea whatsoever. So when I started doing my research, I started documenting what are people generally saying the steps are in order to purchase a home. And the first step that they said was getting pre-approved for a loan. So we talked about why we want to do that. And so I was like, okay, after I do that, then what? Then they recommended finding an agent, a real estate agent that specializes in real estate in the area in which you want to live. Because you can find someone who lives in Atlanta, works in Atlanta, is a great real estate agent in Atlanta, but if you're trying to move in the DMV, they can't really help you. They may have some semblance of what the market could be, but They don't know all the tips and tricks and the nooks and crannies and the hot spots and all that stuff in this part of the country. They just don't, and it's not their fault. So when you settle on a place where you actually want to live, a city that you want to live, a general area that you want to live, it's good to find an agent that specializes in real estate in that area. So that's what I did. The next thing that I started doing was an online search. So now that I have a real estate agent that can start sending me some houses and options that I've told her all my preferences and all that stuff, she's doing that. I'm also getting my letter for pre-approval from my lender. And now I feel like I'm comfortable enough to look at houses within the range that I've been pre-approved for. So I start doing my online search. I'm looking at Zillow, I'm looking at Realtor, I'm looking at all the different websites that you can find houses and all that stuff on. And I'm making a list. You know, I'm pretty anal about stuff like this. So I'm making a list and outlining all the things of the houses that I like. So I had the address of the house, I had the number of bedrooms, the number of bathrooms, how old the house was. I had a link to the house if I wanted to go back and look at images again. All of that stuff. I made a big spreadsheet. You don't have to do all of that, but it helps to keep you a little organized and comfortable in talking about what you in your search. It just really does. So once I had a list of the houses that I really liked and the price and all that stuff, the next step in my mind was to go see them. You know, you can look at pictures all you want. You can do the virtual tours all you want. You know, with everything going on in the world, everything is getting virtual, you know, but I really wanted to be able to find a way to go see these places in person. And so that's what I think is the next step. To get a feel for how big the bedrooms are, to see what the finishes are in the kitchens and the bathrooms. It's helpful to actually physically be there so that you can see it in person, you can see the quality, you can touch it, you can feel the vibe of the house if this is what you want to do and all that stuff. Go see it in person. When you go see it in person though, make sure you take your agent with you. You know, they're there to help you. They're there to make sure that you're asking all the right questions. They're there to make sure that you're getting all your questions answered, all of that stuff. And they may point you in a direction that you didn't even think you could go in. That's exactly what happened with me. There was a whole floor plan that I was like, I don't even want to look at it because I know that it's outside my range. I know that it's not what I'm looking for. And my real estate agent was like, let's just walk through, just so that you can have a comparison. And come to find out, that's the house that I fell in love with. That's the house that ended up being within my range when we ran the numbers with the sales rep at the property. It was magical. So bring your real estate agent with you. The next step in the process, once you're sitting down with the sales rep at the property with your real estate agent, they're going to run some preliminary numbers. They're going to show you what you can get with that house, what comes standard with that house, and they're going to start to show you what the numbers work out to, even sometimes down to what your closing costs are going to be. And so take a moment to work through those numbers, talk through the salesperson, ask all the questions. Do not be shy in asking questions. This is a huge investment. You are investing in your life, your family, your growth, your future. So ask all the questions. Don't be shy if you feel like it's a stupid question. If you're not comfortable asking the question directly to the sales rep, that's what your real estate agent is for. Talk to your real estate agent and have them do that legwork for you. So once you get through that process and you've kind of settled on some preliminary numbers that you're comfortable with, then you sign the contract. You go back and you sign the contract basically to take that piece of land or that property off the market. And you put down your earnest money deposit. That deposit is actually going to take the house off the market. You sign the documents, you pay your money, they take it off the market so that no one else can have that house, that property, whatever the case may be. When you do that, you want to make sure that you're reading the fine print of the property. In my case, I had 7 days to make any additional changes to the property, to the house, to whatever the case may be, without being charged a fee to make additional changes. I had 7 days from the date I signed the contract. I had 30 days to back out of the contract altogether and get my earnest money deposit back. 30 days. But the cool thing, and one of the things that kind of made me comfortable about this particular property and this particular builder, was that I could put down as little as $1,000 to take the property off the market and then pay the remaining balance 60 days later. So that way, if I didn't feel comfortable 30 days in, I could get all of my money back. So for me, it was kind of a mental thing. I don't want to put down the whole earnest money deposit right now. Let me sleep on it. Let me, work through my thoughts and all of that stuff. And then, hey, boom, I'm ready. Let's go. So the next part, once you submit your earnest money deposit and you're all set, is going to the design studio and having your preliminary construction meetings, your pre-construction meetings. During the design studio visit, that's when you pick all your finishes. A lot of people think that once you get close to the end of building the house, that's when you're gonna pick your sink and your cabinets and your paint and all of that stuff. No, you pick that stuff before they even start building the house, because a lot of times they have to order that stuff. They have to make sure that it comes in time. They have to prep the construction and add it to their construction plan and all of that stuff with your specific finishes. So you pick all of that stuff before they even lay the foundation of the house. So I can make a whole video on what to do when you go to the design studio meeting, but be smart about it. Understand that when you sign that preliminary information, when you sign the contract, you had a number there. That number, if you didn't discuss it in that particular meeting, didn't include the upgrades, didn't include the finishes, didn't include a lot of things that you're going to choose when you go to the design studio. So when you're going, make sure that you have a budget in mind. Be like, I don't want to spend any more than $20,000 in upgrades in my house, because there's some things that I can do on my own. I can do a backsplash on my own. I can change the faucets in the bathroom and the kitchen on my own. I can paint on my own. I can do a lot of things on my own. So keep that in mind, that just because you have that number from your contract, you want to make sure that you're still budgeting for your finishes, your design studio visit, all of that stuff. Keep all of that in mind when you're talking to your lender, when you're in the meeting with the sales rep, and as you're going to the design studio meeting. When you're going to your construction meeting, that's when you're going to tell them, where do you want all your outlets? Where do you want your cable connections? They're talking to you about the HVAC system. They're talking to you about the electrical work. Where do you want your lights to be located in your house? If you have, ceiling recessed lights, where do you want those lights to be? Where do you want your pendants to be in your dining room or in your kitchen, or a chandelier in, the hallway or the bedroom, or whatever the case may be? You're picking all of that stuff, all those locations during that construction meeting. So be smart about it. So as you're going through the house building process, over that months-long process, my house is going to take about 6-7 months to complete. So across that 6-7 months, you're gonna have continuous construction meetings. My plan is to go visit the property every week or every 2 weeks, just to see the progress that they're making, take photos, make sure things are progressing the way that I am envisioning it, because it's gonna be yours. You're making this huge investment. Make sure that it's exactly what you want it to be. Then, once you get close to the end of the home build process, that's when you start to have your appraisals and your inspections. That's when you're going to walk through with hopefully a third party, hopefully someone that's not a part of the builder's company, to make sure that everything is up to code, that things are finished to your liking, that you are satisfied in the property. Because you don't want to go to closing until you are at 100% satisfaction with the job, with the building of the house. So once you do that, and you have your appraisal, that's when your loan is going to be applied to your house. That's when you get that final number that you were pre-approved for, and you are set there for the house. Then you go to closing. This is the point where you see all the pictures of people on the internet. They're so happy, they're holding the big keys, they're standing in front of their doors, all of that stuff. That's when you have that meeting and you're basically signing document after document after document after document, making sure that everything is right, everything is in place, and then at the end of closing, they will give you your keys and the house is yours. So that's a pretty long process. It's an in-depth process, it's a trying process, it's fatiguing, it's all of that stuff. But at the end of it all, it's going to be your house. All right, now to what we are actually here for. How to get pre-approved for a home loan. Regardless of the type of loan that you're trying to get, an FHA, a conventional, whatever the case may be, this is the standard process that you'll go through when meeting with a lender and trying to get pre-approved for a home loan. The first thing you want to make sure, and this may take preparation for some folks and everything, is make sure that you have a good, solid credit score, because they are going to check your credit. So most lenders want you to have at least a score of 620, preferably a score of 640 or higher. The higher score that you have, the lower of the interest rate you'll qualify for. Now, the next thing that they're going to require from you are the past 2 years of your W-2s. If you are employed. If you're self-employed, it's different documentation. If you are employed and you have a full-time job or part-time job, whatever the case may be, they're going to ask you for your previous 2 years of your W-2s. This is in line with them verifying your employment. They want to make sure that you have a job, you have consistent income. The next thing that they're going to want to see are your bank statements. They want to see how money flows in and out of your account. They're going to ask for the last 30 days of your bank statements in full. Make sure you provide them in full. They're also going to want to see what other assets do you have. Do you own other properties? Do you, what other things are attributed to your wealth? And a part of that is going to be your 401k or your 403b statements. This is your retirement statements. So they're going to want to see the last quarter or the last year of your retirement statements to see if you have a solid foundation there as well. And the last thing that they're going to ask for is a picture ID. They're going to make sure that you are a US citizen. They want to see your driver's license or form of ID, and they also may ask for your social security card as well. So once they have all of this information, they'll go through their process, they'll verify all of your documentation, and they'll make an assessment of how much they think that you can be lended towards your home. Now, I can make a whole video about unfair lending practices and things that I've heard and things that I've actually experienced when going in to find lenders and stuff like that, but I want this to be informative for you guys. So in the comments below, tell me about your pre-approval process. Was it easy for you? Did you have to go through a whole bunch of paperwork and documents and lenders and all that stuff to get your proper number that you really, really wanted? And tell me about how your home buying process went, because I really don't want this to be stressful. I really don't want this to, make me pull out the little bit of hair on my head that I need to shave off that I have left, all of that stuff. I don't want to be stressed by this. So let's talk about it in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video. I think I'm going to turn this into a series possibly and tell you guys about the different things that I'm going through in this house building process. I'm pretty excited about it. I don't know if it's quite hit me just yet that I'm buying and building a house right now, but I'm really, really excited about it, and I kind of want to take you guys along the ride. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next week.